Dear friends in uniform, we have all left our comfort zones to join the military, primarily to maintain peace and safety among the people of God, which is indeed the great sacrifice that we have made. If we recall our motivations towards joining the military, I presume that almost all of us here present, a call to service was a strong motivating factor towards our joining. Of course, this call to serve has some financial and occupational benefits of which you are enjoying. You may testify that, which ought to be secondary. How many of us have put the financial and occupational benefits of our military service as secondary? I want to see the hands. How many of us? With this, our economy, some of us, of course, had in mind getting something to do, at least that could bring us something on our tables. But believe you me, with the training that we receive here, these intentions are purified, so much so that we pour ourselves wholeheartedly in the spirit of dedication to respond to this call of service as the priority. So, dear friends in uniform, as we maintain peace and safety, we have to remember that we do all this under the help of the risen Christ, the author of peace. The pastoral constitution of the church in the modern world, God in its space, reminds us who are rendering military service to regard ourselves as the agents of security and freedom of people, thus making a genuine contribution to the establishment of peace. On this Easter Sunday, dear friends, let us contemplate on the risen Christ, the author of the peace, who is ever ready to intervene in our lives to bring about order in the chaotic situations as military personnel. What is the good news of Easter then? Easter is the greatest and the most important feast in the church. It marks the birthday of our eternal hope. Easter literally means the feast of fresh flowers. We celebrate it with pride and jubilation for three reasons. One, the resurrection of Christ as the basis of our Christian faith. Two, the resurrection is the greatest of the miracles. It proves that Jesus is God. That is why St. Paul writes, if Christ has not been raised, then our preaching is in vain, and your faith is in vain. And if Christ has not been raised, then your faith is a delusion, and you are still lost in your sins. But in fact, Christ has been raised from the dead, the first fruits of those who are fallen asleep. Without the resurrection, dear friends, Jesus would have remained forever just a good man, a good person who had met a tragic end. People would remember some of his teachings, and more importantly, most probably a handful of them would try to live according to them. The third, all the basic doctrines of Christianity are founded on this truth of the resurrection. Jesus is Lord. He is risen. This was the central theme of the Hekima, or the preaching of the apostles. Easter is the guarantee of our own resurrection. Jesus assured Martha at the tomb of Lazarus, I am the resurrection and the life. Whoever believes in me will live even though he dies. Easter is a feast which gives us hope and encouragement in this world of pain sorrows and tears, especially us working in the military as we strive to maintain peaceful coexistence among the people of God. Easter has a special message to us, dear friends in uniform, that despite all the hardships we go through, putting our own lives at stake, the risen Christ still remains our only encouragement. Some of us, dear friends, tend to live our lives negatively due to the nature of our work as military personnel. Easter Sunday must remind us that things are not all that bad all the time. There are moments, dear friends, that things can be good. Once we reach that level, we can also see something good in our daily commitments in the military, despite the hardships we encounter. There is always Easter Sunday about our work. There is something white about our work, the nature of our work. It's not always about Good Friday. In every Good Friday, rather, there is an Easter Sunday. Good Friday in this sense means every moment of darkness in our lives, whereas Easter Sunday may refer to every moment of light, every moment of hope in our lives. The event that we have just read from the Gospel took place on the first day of the week, early in the morning, while it was still dark. Mary Magdalene, a woman of faith, took a risk in the darkness, expecting to see the light, the Lord Himself. There is something more to life than just thinking about negativity, dear friends. Thinking death all the time. What we think about is what determines and drives even our own dreams. For instance, you may be dreaming about coffins all the time, hovering around your bed. It is actually what you think about that is death. Mary Magdalene, a woman of hope and faith, dares to go to the direction of death, expecting to find life. She then becomes the apostle of the apostles. Why? Because she is the proclaimer of life, not death. First, she goes to report about the empty tomb. They have taken the Lord from the tomb, and we don't know where they have put Him. Of course, nobody saw the Lord rising, not even the soldiers. They were asleep. It is only the experience that followed the resurrection that can make us claim that indeed there was a resurrection. For instance, we see the life, the vigor that came into Peter and the beloved disciple when they heard from the woman. These individuals who looked disappointed, depressed, then got courage, ran towards the tomb. When Peter entered, he saw the linen clothes lying there, and the cloth that had covered his head, not with the linen clothes, but rolled up in a separate place. What do we see in this? Everything in order in the tomb. Everything neat. In a place where we expect chaos, that is in the tomb, we see order. Our God is a God of order, dear friends in uniform. Where do we run to when we are in chaos? We have to put our trust in the God of order amid all our struggles in the military, as well as our individual families. Assured that God will put things in place in order. May the Lord recreate and start everything new in our lives. The second reading of today from Colossians tells us, look to the things that are above. Don't just fix your eyes to the things that are below, because if you do, you'll get discouraged. See, when you look at these things that are happening below, the confusion in our political leaders who just change our general commanders time and again, the confusion in our economy, you can easily get discouraged. But when you look up with the eyes of faith from the things of above, we can testify that God is working out something, and there is no limit to what God can achieve in our lives. And we believe and trust in Him. Happy Easter to you all, friends of the resurrection.